Hello, welcome back. Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. Part 11 now of the Lancaster Bomber Revisited. This is a kit from Hachette. It's a part work, and if you want to join in, you can do so by clicking on the QR code you see on the screen now, or you can go visit the website across the bottom there of that screen, and you can join in. You can join in from part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there is a limit on how far you can go, but if you've already got the first couple of parts, you can certainly start from part 3. So yeah, and the first one is $1.99, the second one is $6.99, and then from then on it's $10.99, and they come out basically weekly. So in this video, which I've already done the standard build of, that's the format this is going to be in, we're going to look at 15, 16, 17 and 18 all in this one video because it's not a hell of a lot of work to do. So 15, which is going to be the busiest one, we have the rest bunk, we have the bottle store for the CO2 bottles, and we have the oxygen bottles here. Now these are orange in the kit. I believe they should be black. I can't remember, somebody told me in the comments about the colours, and I fully agree. These should be black and these should be light grey. 15C, I'm not sure what it is, and 15D is the top of the detail. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but I'm going to leave it the same colour as it is because it's like a nice silvery grey colour. We've got an upright here, which is going to be that interior green, and then we've got the bed here, which is also going to be the interior green with the green cushion on the top. Okay, so all we're going to do here is basically clean these bits up and repaint them. So moving on then, we have pack 16, which is basically a couple of ammo bins. These bits here, what do they call those? Cover flanges. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but this is the rear spar cover, okay, and then this is the flapjack cover. The flapjack, someone has asked, basically it slides in and out, and what it does as it moves along, it pulls. There are shafts attached, so if you can imagine, you've got your flap here. If this magazine is the flap, okay, and we've got a shaft going across here, and you've got this. If the flap is now in its up position, if I now push this across, the flap has to go down. As you can see, my hand is coming up, and then as I pull the shaft back, the flap has to come up. Okay, so that's how it works. And if you look at a photograph, go and have a look now on Google at Lancaster flaps, you will see them when they're down. They've got these vertical rods in there. Basically what it is, the shaft pulls and pushes, and that makes those rods go up and down and pull the flaps up and down. So that's what that cover's for. And that's basically that. So that's going to be interior green, interior green, interior green, interior green on the back with the green on the cushion. These ammo bins, I'm not quite sure. I need to go and check if they should be interior green. Maybe they should be grey green. I'm not sure. I'm going to go and check. So we shall see in a minute. And then in pack 17, we've got this rear floor section. We've got the recuperators here. We've got the toilet and some screws, and we've got the flare chute there. All of this, base of the toilet, all of this should be interior green. So we're going to paint all that together. And then finally, we have pack 18, which is basically this rear walkway for the rear turret. They call it a walkway. It's actually a crawlway for the rear turret. So this is the tailplane spar support or cover, and then that is that's going to go behind that. So basically, if you remember, as I said in the last part, they ask you to put all this together, so you end up, when you look at the instructions, you will see you end up with this great big long extension piece here, and then you actually add more onto there, so you end up with this huge great thing that you've got to store somewhere. My recommendation is don't do this part here, don't join the rear to the front, have them separate, and then you'll have two manageable chunks that you can just screw together later. So there we go. Right, so first things first, I'm going to get the parts from pack 15. These bottles and everything, there's going to be seam lines on them, there's probably going to be some sprue nibs to clean up, and I'm going to get all that cleaned up, and we can spray the bottles black and we can spray those grey, and then after that it's going to be a case of getting everything done and spraying it all green. So I'll be back in a second when I've got those bits cleaned up. Okay, so all these parts are cleaned up. You can see on the top of this cushion I've done sort of 3 random sort of bits just to give it a bit of a wavy look to it, if you like, just to make it look a bit more realistic. Sanded all the seams off of here, so that's all ready to be sprayed, the interior green. This unit here, I am going to have to paint it. There were some seams on here, so I'm going to deal with that, or I've dealt with that. This upright, that's all had the seam done on there, because seams look terrible on round things. And again, with these bottles, I've gone round and done the seams. These here are extremely difficult to do. For some reason, it's like the plastic is made of steel. I know that's a contradiction in terms, but they really are difficult to get the seam out of them. It's very, very strange. So there you go. But not really too worried about them, to be honest, because they're going to go in the floor underneath this. So you're not really going to see them, and they're going to be black. So that's all that done ready. So basically what I'm doing is getting parts ready to prime and paint. Now, I was asked the question in part 8 or 9, I can't remember now, do I prime and what is the colour I'm using? I've said on countless occasions, yes, I prime with black, generally on the plastic parts like this, generally. If the parts are pre-painted like this with the interior green colour they've used, I've just gone over the paint that they've used. Okay, so I'm not worried too much about priming here, because the paint that they've put down sticks beautifully to the paint I'm putting on. The paint I use is my own mix. It's roughly 50-50 of XF71 and XF21. So it gives you that sort of greeny grey colour. You can use XF76 if you don't want to mix your paints. XF76, as you can see, is very, very close to the colour I use, but it's called grey-green. But it's very, very close. Some will say the colour I'm using is a little light. Yes, you are correct. It's a little light because when you get it all done and it's all built up, like I can show you here, when you look inside, it all darkens up. So as you can see, when you look in there, it all looks good because it's like a darker green. Okay, I don't know if you've actually seen this built up. There we are, you can see how nice it all fits now. No real gaps or anything. The tape there is holding cardboard on to protect that light, but you can see there it's all together. Very, very nice indeed. Notice I haven't fit the turtle deck because thank you, somebody was telling me there's an LED that's going to go in there. Got a bit of dust or something in there. Where's a cotton bud? I'll worry about that later. But yeah, there we go. Very, very nice. That's our nose section all built up. I'm not going to put the cloth around those guns again, or I'm going to break them, aren't I? So this goes back in its box with the cloth around it to protect it from scratching. We are going to have to do something here. As you can see, we've got this sort of semi-gloss finish all over the model, and this one area here is flat black. So we're going to have to give it a lacquer coat or something to blend it all in. But that's going in there. Right. So so that's it for sort of pretty much for pack 15. So the other thing I'm looking at is here. When this goes onto this floor, okay, this basically screws through there into the forward section I just had, and then this goes on top, and these 3 threaded areas there, which I've put a thread in, they're going to go into 3 holes in the back of the floor, and then you've got these 3 raised lugs here are going to go into those 3 there, so they're going to go like that. And then it's quite clear that at some point we're going to screw up from underneath. Go on. Oh, go on. Right, we're going to screw up from underneath through there. And I'm assuming, which you should never do, I'm assuming they're going to be BM screws. Now I've checked the size of these holes, and they are roughly 1.8, I think it was, or 1.6, 1.75. 1.7, I thought they were 1.8, I probably measured them from the other side. 1.7, 1.77, 1.75. So that is basically the tapping size for a 2.2, an M2.2 drill, and a BM screw is a 2.2 screw thread. So what I'm going to do is tap these. I'm using the first tap, the taper tap, with M2.2, so that we don't end up getting swarf all over our nicely built parts. Okay, we can go right through on this one. See what's happened there. The die has the pin vise. As I've done this stuff, you can see it's getting yeah, I haven't done that tight enough. Right, go in and back, in and back, in and back. It seems that this tap is probably not as sharp as the other one. Okay, so we can do this next one as well. In fact, I'm going to I'm going to use this tap first. Maybe it'd be better if I tapped it from this side. I mean, at the end of the day, if we're going to be using 2mm screws and I've tapped it oversized, we've got lots of spares anyway. Yeah, this does feel a little tight. So maybe it's going to be M2 screws going in there. So I'm going to carry on with this anyway, and I'll see you back in a minute, and we'll look at the next pack, because I'm not going to paint all this and then get all the paint out again to do the next pack. I'm going to do everything together in this one video. Okay, so I've got the parts from pack 15 over there. These are the parts from pack 16. And also what I've done here, I've tapped out these threads as you've just seen, and I've put 3 spare BM screws in there, so that when you see me building it, it's kind of like you're doing if you're doing it as per the instructions. So if you just imagine when they show you this, I don't have it attached to the nose section, so what you're going to see is this here. So carrying on, I'm going to end up with 2 parts. So in pack 16 we have the jack cover, as we talked about. No cleanup required on that whatsoever. There is a sprue gate there, so I'm going to get my little PE sander and just sand that away. Okay, just to improve the look there. So that's fine, and that's going to basically pop in there like that. So we'll probably glue that in and then paint it. And we've got the jack cover here, and that's going to glue on there. So we'll probably glue that on and then paint it as well. And this is going to go into there. So we may well glue that on and paint it afterwards as well. We've also noticed on the back of here there are 3 large ejector pin marks, so we need to sand those away. Now I'm not going to keep the camera going and show you me sanding them away, but just so you get the idea, just keep sanding until they disappear, because it's not going to affect the fit of anything. It's just literally a backrest, so we can just sand away until those ejector pin marks disappear, because all you're going to do is thin out the area rather than start filling and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to get all this done. Look at these parts here. There is a sprue gate you can see on the back of there. Okay, so we can sand that away. I may do these a different colour just to add some interest. There's a sprue gate on both sides actually. So just sand that away there, sand that away there. And the same on this side. There we go, just like that. Okay, so that's that done. You can see here we've got a little hole in there, so obviously we're going to be getting ammo belts going forward. Right, so I'll get this cleaned up and then I'll come back. Okay, so that's all the parts from pack 16. And as I just showed you, then I'll go on. I'm not going to worry about gluing things on first, because we have location points for everything, and it does look like there's probably going to be some screws going in there at some point, but basically we have that's a nice push fit anyway in there. So I think we'll just leave that. We won't bother painting everything when it's on, because it's going to involve masking and everything. So let's have a look at pack 17 and see what's in there. Okay, so this is now going to be the rear floor section, which is going to screw onto there. Now comes in here, so we've got all these parts there. Keep those separate. So we've got these parts here from pack 17. Is it 17? Yeah, 17. So we are going to put that in the recycling. So we can look on here, we can see we've got ejector pin marks in this floor. So I'm going to grab a sanding stick and just try and make them a little less obvious. We probably won't be able to get rid of them completely. And I'm not going to worry about filling them because they're very, very shallow, and I think looking at these holes there's going to be a piece going over the top. We do have some scratching back here, which happened in the factory by the look of it. And then we have ejector pin mark up on the front there. So we'll just make it look a little bit better, that's all. Right, so here we can see we have the back of the bomb bay being shown in there. And if you remember, these parts are going on, and lo and behold, they are pre-tapped. They've already got the threads cut. So what I'm tempted to do here is screw this together before painting, and then we'll get the screws and everything in the green colour as well, so it won't be so obvious. So these are our DM screws that come with this kit, with this pack. So we're going to fit these. Remember, you always get one spare, so we'll start in the middle, screw that in there. Remember, this top right one is tight, so I'm going to make sure that goes in. Pulls it in nice and snug. There we go. And then the same here with this one. Make sure you get them in straight. You don't want to cross thread the thread that's tapped. That'll give you all sorts of nightmares, especially with this soft, I call it monkey metal. It's like a die cast. It's just a junk metal. It doesn't mean it's rubbish. It's not knocking the model at all. It's just it's not really suitable for many things. But you can feel that pulling in. Make sure it pulls in all the way. If yours is the same as mine, a little tight in that area, then there we go. There we are. So you can see there's going to be the position for the emergency hatch, or maybe they're going to give us a gun. AJT had a gun in that position. I don't think any of the others did. When they actually went on the mission, I don't think any of them had the gun there. Be interesting also to see where they put the light, because there's a lot of controversy about where the rear light was. I think that's gone down in now. I'm worried that I'm going to strip that thread, that's the problem. So they've gone in good and tight. In fact, I'm just going to grab one of my other screwdrivers and make sure they are good and tight, because I want to make sure it's not on an angle. Alright, that's on. Now on these parts, on this flare chute, you can see we have a mould seam and a sprue gate. So we'll sand that off. We have a mould seam along the top, that is like a step there. And then we have a mould seam on the back, which is quite heavy, so we'll get rid of that. It's taking a lot of sanding to get rid of that one. You can see it's quite deep. Wipe the sanding stick off, get it unclogged. Wow, that is quite deep, that one. There we go. Same on the top. So we just go around with a sponge on the round part. There we are. So obviously there's going to be something to go in the top of there. There we are. Right. So that's ready to be painted. Now I could screw that in now, okay, and paint it all in one, but it might be difficult to get down into there and we might end up with a bit of a dark patch. So it's easier just to spray it off, and then because it screws on anyway, it's not glued on. Now these pieces here, as you know, these go in the sides like this. So I'm not exactly sure how they're supposed to fit. Do they go right down through? I'm assuming they do go right down through. Okay. Now they're quite a snug fit and we can glue them from underneath, so we can paint those separate as well. Alright, still see some of that ejector pin mark there. There's one there as well. Just get rid of the worst of it. Right, so there we go. So that's, and they've got the toilet here, and that's got a big mould seam on the top, on the lid. I can't remember what colour I did the toilet in my border models Lancaster. But we can just add some variation by painting it a different green, give it a bit of gloss, whatever. And then we've got a mould seam and a sprue gate there on the front. So that can go. It's a very hard material, this. I think it's ABS, somebody said. It's very hard. It's difficult to remove the mould seams. It really is. And then with the sponge, there we go. And that little bit in the corner there, we need a hard sanding stick just to do the edge of the seat and get rid of that mould seam there. Mould seams look horrible, especially on round parts, so we'll get rid of them. So that's the parts there from pack 17, and we're going to have a screw B.P. going in the bottom. We've got a spare DM screw there, so that can go in there. Right, so we've done the building work there. The other thing I'm going to do now is with a sponge, I'm just going to go over these screws just to rough them up a bit. Okay, and I'll probably put a little bit of etch primer on there. I'll use acid 8 etch primer, number 8 acid primer. Okay, so so I think that is pack 17 done. Okay, so looking at pack 18, as I say, we just got this rear piece to go on, and we may as well put that on and spray that all as one as well, and then we can get the screws in. So we'll put that paper in the recycling. We've got this piece here, which is also metal. Now we have ejector pin marks on the bottom. They don't matter, they're on the bottom. This is also metal. Do we have any funny marks on here? No, we don't. There's nothing there that requires painting, so we can put that on there. And we have more DM screws and CM screws. So we've got 3 CMs, we need 2 of them. So we can get 2 of those out. So you've seen me do this already on the standard build. Remember, I tapped these threads, I think. I don't remember if I tapped these or not. The threads here were already tapped. Okay, so that can go in there, and then we'll get that one on the screwdriver and get that one in. Again, pull them in nice and firm, because that is, again, it's like a sort of friction fit almost. You're pulling it together with the screws. Just like so. Here we go. And then we may as well screw this on here and paint this all as one, rather than scratch the paint and everything. So we've got DM screws here. We only need 2 of them, but we'll get 3 out. Put the bag to one side and put the spare DM screw back in the other bag with the other DM screw. So you can see how you build up your spares of screws now. So we get one of those there. And this is the thing I'm saying now, if you do this like this, separate, when it comes to turning it over, you're not worried about breaking anything on the nose. On the nose you'd have the turret and all sorts of bits and pieces that you might break. So we can put that together like so, get that screw in there. There we go. Now I think I'm going to have to find a bigger box to put all this in. because that is not going to fit in my original box, not even diagonally. So I could take it all apart again, but then I have all screw marks and everything, so we'll keep all this together. So there we go, so we can get all that painted. It does look like there's going to be a walkway going in through here, because there is a walkway in the actual aircraft. So there we go. Right, so that's it. So we're done all the way up to pack 18. Obviously we're going to be cutting a thread in there. I don't mind doing that after the paint because it's right on the end, it's on its own. There's going to be threads to be cut in various places along here, but I don't want to guess the sizes just yet. I'm assuming these are going to be AM screws in here, but when you put an M2 tap in there, it feels a lot, quite loose, so I'm not going to tap any threads in here yet. They are through holes, so we can do it this way up and make sure the swarf falls away, so we won't mess up in our detail. Right, so I am now going to get my airbrush filled with paint. I'm going to get some etch primer on these screws just to try and help the paint stick a bit better. And in fact, if I'm going to be getting etch primer out anyway, I may as well sand until that ejector pin mark is gone. The problem is with sanding through to the metal, you really need to use etch primer. Otherwise, if you just use ordinary Tamiya paint on the bare metal, or even Mr. Surfacer primer, it'll just come off as soon as you touch it. So it's best to use an etch primer, even though they're not very good these days, but it's better than having something there than nothing. Okay, so that's that there. So we're ready now to just get everything painted. I'm not going to bore you with the painting. I'll just go away, get the painting done, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like when it's painted and we can put it together. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. These bottles that go under the seat, they're going into these D-shaped holes. You can see you've got a D-shaped peg on the bottom of each bottle. They're going into these D-shaped holes, and as you can see, they are a very tight fit. So I would recommend coming along and just sanding the paint off the flat of the D, and then they go in easy. Okay, so you can glue them in. So go in, get your D like that, sand the paint off, like that, and then you can see that they'll go in easily. Alright, and as you can see, everything is painted. So we've got all this back end painted, all those screws, all this is done. We've got to come in with a brush and paint this back here with that green colour. You'll also notice I've removed the wing spar. Reason being, when we glue these tanks and everything into here, we've got 4 holes here for the bed, we've got those 5 holes for the tanks, we've got a hole here for the post, there's a hole there for that accessory, whatever it is. We don't want to be super gluing this to there, okay? What you could do, if you want to keep it together and do it, you could actually put some tape on the back. If you have already got it attached to the forward fuselage, it doesn't matter, but what I don't want to do is find that I take these screws out and then I can't physically get that off without damaging it, because if it gets in there and it's tightly clamped together, it may well glue really well. At worst, at best, it'll rip the paint off and it'll make a mess, and then it might not go back flat together. So I think the best thing to do is just to glue it without it there and then sand the back flat, however. And also it's neater, you get a neater job if you can sand it from the back. If you can put the glue in from the back, so you put the parts in and then put the glue in, let it capillary up. So that's what I've done. So I've taken this off, put those 3 screws back in there. We'll put it straight back on as soon as all those parts are on. So you can see now we've got the bed with the lighter green colour, and I've sprayed the top, and you can see there where I've got the texture on the top. It's really basic. I mean, I'm not going to go to town with it. And there's the backrest. As you can see, that's also painted. No masking. All I've done is held it like this, sprayed it green first, the interior green, and then held it like this and made sure the airbrush doesn't get onto the back. And then you get the nice edge on there. This is basically a mixture of XF58, I think it is. XF58 olive grey, olive green, and park green X27, 28, X28 I think it is, park green. This is the same with a little bit of blue chucked in it. So we've got the toilet there, a nice different sort of colour, and then we've got the ammo boxes. I've also done those with the XF58 with a smaller drop of blue in it. So you can see there's more blue in that one than there is in the ammo box there. So it's just adding a bit of colour rather than having everything interior green. Obviously all of this you can see here is sprayed interior green. We've got the tanks there, they're done in light grey, and we've got the oxygen tanks here, they're done in black. So what I'm going to do now is get the paintbrushes. Oh, we've got that there, that's LP48, that's sparkling silver. You can see it's a really bright colourful colour there, and what I'm trying to do is just make things pop out so everything's just not green, or not just green should I say. There was a black panel on this here for the step. I've painted over that in green because I don't believe it would have been a non-slip panel there. I'm not sure, maybe I'm wrong, but there was certainly no non-slip anywhere else, so I don't know why they'd have it there. There definitely wasn't non-slip around the cockpit. We're going to paint these recuperators. I've gone over the tops of them with the LP48 sparkling silver because we dealt with the seams, and they're all so they all get removed with the seams. They're covered up there. Come on, guys, get your words together. I've removed the seams, so I've covered up the seams where I've removed the paint with the sparkling silver. So we'll go in now and add some variations in colours and stuff, and just add some detail on there. Totally fictitious, nothing accurate. If it comes it's accurate, then it is. And we'll paint the silver on top of these and the pipes and everything, and then we'll probably go around and do the brackets on there or something. I actually got this Sharpie pen, as some of you will know, for doing the work on the, in fact we'll try on this one first because these are hidden away, for doing that Fokker. Now I'm wondering if we can use the Sharpie pen. Yes we can, look at that. There's a good way of doing your highlighting. Just use the Sharpie pen to go around the raised detail and paint that strap in silver. That works, doesn't it? Brilliant. It's a lot easier than getting paintbrushes out and stuff, isn't it? Let's try it on this one. At the end of the day, if we go wrong, we can just go around and touch in with a brush. If you are following the Fokker, I've bought a narrower pen, that silver pen, to try and do that turn metal effect. And I've also had an email from Ray over at Windsock, and he's actually sent me a load of stuff, which is very good of him. There we go. Very nice indeed. That's come out really well. Right, so we can do the rest of them like that, and there we go. So I'm going to do some detail painting now. You don't need to see me do that, and then I'll come back and we'll get it all put. Okay, here we go. Right, just want to get some. Just want to say something. Today is Thursday, the 16th of May, 2024, and I've just noticed a question from Paul on part 9, and he's asked me if the fibre optics are included in the kit and do the paints come with the kit. My friend, you're watching the Revisited, so this is Revisited. I'm painting stuff because I want to change the colour. This is the original interior green colour that has been used, and this is the green colour that I'm changing it to. You can see the difference in the colour here. Okay, the paints do not come with the kit. The kit is not designed to be built and painted. The kit comes with everything pre-painted. All you have to do is put it together. You don't have to paint anything, as far as I know, certainly up to now. So everything you've seen me use on this model is straight out of the box, other than changing the colours, changing the build sequence, adding some decals into the dials, and doing a bit of painting here and there. That's all I'm doing. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do going forward. I don't know if I'm going to be adding anything. I very much doubt it. Oh, I've added some photo etch seat belts, haven't I? But this is the Revisited. So if you see Hachette Lancaster Revisited, this means I'm sort of rebuilding the kit and adding some finishing touches. You don't need to do this. You will end up with a beautiful model. If you don't do any of this, it's a beautiful model out of the box. It is very, very nice and appears very highly detailed. It is also very weighty. So don't go fretting about painting and stuff like that, because I'm doing this. This is the Revisited. There is another playlist on my channel you can go and see where I'm building it pack by pack out of the packets without modifying anything. And in those videos I go through the magazines and everything, and I just build it pack by pack. So yes, the fibre optics, the downward looking light, the electric motor for the propeller, everything comes with the kit. I'm not adding anything like that. All I'm doing is painting and adding a few little fine details. Right, so we have all the painting done on here now, and it's all nice and dry, so we can carry on with our build sequence. So if we go back to, we're going to follow the magazines. Okay, so if we go back to number 15, what's going on here? They've managed to get themselves entwined. This number 15 magazine of mine is a right and utter pain. There's been a flaw when they've made the magazine and the staples keep coming out. So I'm going to have to go find that because it's gone on the carpet and I don't want Jess to get it in her paws. Okay, so as you can see here in the magazine, they're telling us to put these 2 CO2 bottles into the step. So here we have the step. Okay, so we'll put those away. And when you have our 2 CO2 bottles here, get those off. And as you can see, I've done the detail painting on them. Let's bring that box closer, I think, so I don't have to keep leaning over in front of the camera. Let's bring it over here. So these 2, we've got a D-shaped pin on the bottom, and they are going to go on like that. Okay, you can see I've sanded some off the D to get them to fit better. I've painted all the straps silver, and I've also given them a little dry brush with some silver paint as well. So they fitted very snugly in there, but just in case, let's get this magazine out of your face as well. Okay, so just in case, I'm going to put a drop of super glue on the back, and that'll help to hold them in place. That'll capillary into any little gaps. So there we go. The glue doesn't come with the kit either, you need to use your own super glue. Or I wouldn't suggest using polystyrene cement on this one because I think it's all ABS. It won't work very well. So that's that done. And then the next thing it's asking us to do is fit this into the wing section. So that's going to go on like that. Now that's not a very tight fit. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put some super glue in these holes. Put it around the edges, don't just put it down the bottom, because as you can see here the pins aren't very long. That's my compressor you can hear going off there. Okay. Okay, so work that up and down a bit. You can see we've got glue on the pins now. That's the beauty of this black glue. This is the VMS black thin. Okay, so you can see that on there now, looking a lot different than it did out of the box. And then we've got this part here which is called an accessory of some sort. Where is it? Where have you gone? Where has it gone? It appears to have disappeared. It's absolutely... Oh, there it is. It's hiding. Put that one back in there. Alright. And then this has got a D-shaped pin on the bottom, but it's a very, very loose fit. Alright, it goes in and it is very, very loose. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my knife and I'm going to cut so that it goes in a little bit further than it should. And then it'll fit in there a lot tighter. Okay, so that's gone in there like that. And then what we can do is glue that in from behind. Let the glue fill that gap up. What I'm going to do is wiggle it around a little bit, let the glue pull up. Get it to fill that gap. It's a very, very loose fit. It's almost like it's the wrong part going in there, but it's not. If you can hear any noise, it's the rain. It's absolutely pouring down outside. Okay, so we'll leave that like that. And then, so that's that part done. Then we'll turn over the page and you'll see my repair for the dodgy staple. So now we've got to fit the stay, 15G, and then we're going to fit the 5 tanks into the D-shaped holes in part 14A. Okay, so we've got this vertical support here for the roof. And that's got a D-shaped pin on the bottom, and that is going to go into that D-shaped hole. and it's a nice snug fit. Let's just push that in. Okay, so I'm just going to put a drop of glue on the end of that, just on the end, just like so, and then just place it in the hole, and you can see the glue gets capillaried onto the hole, and then we can push the pin into the hole just like that. And then we can just check it's vertical, and it is. So that's good. Now the 5 oxygen bottles. So we have one. Again, you can see I've done the detail on them and given them a dry brush with some silver paint. So we're going to put these in place, and I'm going to go from bottom to top, or from right to left, however you're looking at it. Get another one. Chest hair on that one. Okay, and then push that into there. You can see how easy they go in after I did that bit of sanding on the D. They go in a lot easier, just like that. Whoops. Oh, come on. Got it the wrong way around. I can't see the D because the orange paint is looking weird. Makes it look strange. Because obviously where the clamp's holding it, it's still orange paint underneath. Okay, so as you can see, they're all sort of all over the place. So I'm going to get them all sort of sitting vertical so they all look like they're in a line. Okay, just like so. And then we're going to come in with some super glue from behind, and we're going to put a drop in each hole, and that will capillary around. Looks like one of them's not down in properly. The downside of this super glue is it doesn't dry straight away. The beauty of this super glue is that it doesn't dry straight away. I've just managed to push that part out. And this is what I was talking about earlier. I was saying if you do this with this in position on the rear floor, then you run the risk of getting super glue on there and it won't come apart again. So if you're doing the same as me and you are building this separate from the rest of the model, why is that one twisted around like that? It doesn't really matter because you're not going to see them from the top, you're only going to see them barely from the side. Right, so we can get these all in a line, just like so. Check them that way, check them that way, and they all look good. So that's it, and the glue will capillary up around those. Job done. Right. Then we are going to fit the seat. So here's the seat. Again, I've cleaned all that. There's lots of flash and everything in here. So cleaned all that out, and then I've changed the colours of it as well. So this is going to go in. So you have 2 large pins and 2 small pins. And down here you have 2 large holes and 2 small holes. Obviously, the large is going to go in the large hole. And just push that in. That would probably stay there on its own. I am going to just put a drop of glue on the back of each pin, just like so. And if you're wondering why I've got this here, it's because I've been mixing up some fresh interior green and I wanted to get it to match. When you mix paint, guys, don't just mix it so that it looks the same in the jar. You need to spray it or brush it on or whatever, so you can actually look at it and you can see how it dries, because generally Tamiya paints dry slightly lighter than they look in the bottle. Some dry darker, but generally they do dry lighter. Now I've just got some super glue on my finger because I've just touched it. I think it was there, right? Okay. So be careful not to get black super glue marks over all this lovely green paint. I just want to pull this. It doesn't want to come. Okay, so we're going to let that glue dry, and then we can sand all that back. Alright, so that is, I've just noticed that's pack 15 complete, so that's that done. Right, so then pack 16 I think is the ammo. We can put that to one side to dry and carry on with pack 16. So, pack 16, we have the rear spar cover which we've already got assembled. Alright, and then they're telling us to put the backrest into that and then fit that to the rear of that part. And then we're going to fit the jackstay and the vertical support into the model, and then we're going to fit the ammo boxes. Okay, so that's simple enough. Right, so we have the rear spar cover. This is what they had to climb over to get in the aircraft. The main spar cover was much bigger. And then this is just going to push into here, and this is a push fit. It's going to be even tighter because we've got more paint on it now. That is going to go in there like that. There we go. So that's pushed in like that. Okay, note the ejector pin marks have gone on the back. If you want to, just for giggles, we can put a drop of glue in there just to help that stay in place. Okay, and then that is going to glue into there. Alright, and what I'm going to do is glue it in from behind. Now it kind of looks like it was originally designed to be screwed in, but it looks like someone changed their mind. So we're going to put some glue on there and that'll capillary around. We're going to put some glue on here and that'll capillary around as well. Alright, so that's that done. So we can just leave that now. You can see we've got our rest bench there with the back wrench and the bottles underneath. Back wrench, back rest. But you can see that. What have I done there? What is that there? It's a little black spot. It's a piece of super glue, I reckon. It's right, we can come in with airbrush and just blow that in, clean it up later. Or just leave it, it's a black spot after all. Okay, so that could be left to dry now. Right, I've got super glue on my hands again. Okay, so next was the vertical support. It's going in here. Alright, so that's just going to go, we've got a D-shaped pin, D-shaped hole, that's going to go into there like that, and then we can come in from behind. Drop of super glue, just like that. And then pull it up. That makes sure that the glue is going to get wicked round. We can check that square. Just tie it up, it doesn't need to be perfect. Just get it as good as you can. And move that clamp out of the way. And then we've got the jack cover, the flap jack cover. So that's just going to press into those holes in the bottom. It's very tight. But again, we've got these lovely hexagonal holes. So that's going to work. These lovely hexagonal holes with a round pin going into them, which means it's great for the glue because the glue's got plenty of room to capillary in. Let's just go around. Also, the black glue means we can colour in the green bits as well, which is cool. Okay, so there we go, that's that done. That's that done, and now ammo boxes. They are going to go at the back of the floor section here. We've got a large pin and a small pin. Again, we've got through holes, so we could glue from behind for a really neat job. So we can push them in there. Wow, they are a tight fit. Oh, they don't need glue, I don't think. And that one's going to go in there. Keep my fingers out of that glue. Wow, that's tight. Put it on the edge of the bench a minute and push down on it. Nope, that's not going to go. That's going to have to be drilled out. Back in a sec. There we go. I actually ended up sanding a bit of meat off the pins. But there we go. We can, I mean, not that we need it, but we can just put some super glue over the ends of these pins. there's no room for it to capilli round, but one thing it does, it lets it get coloured black, doesn't it? I'm not sure how much of this Bombay is going to be visible at the end of the day, because you've got the fairings over the front for the drive and then you've got the fairing at the back for aerodynamics, so none of this here is going to be seen. It's going to be covered up to there, I think. Okay, so there we go, right. There we are. Right, so that's pack 16 done. 17 is fitting that rear piece, which is done. Then we're going to fit the chute for the flares. I can't remember the name of it then. And we're going to put a screw in from behind, and then we're going to fit the recuperators and then the toilet. Okay, so that's all pretty straightforward. So we've got the, excuse my squeaky chair, guys. So we have the flare chute going in there. There we go, I was trying to push it too far back. And then we've got a screw going in the bottom, which is a BP8 screw. Where did I get 8 from? It's a BP screw, it's not a BP8 screw. Okay, be careful turning it over because it's got that support there. It's going to get snapped off really easily. So we'll just put that in there. There we are, that's holding that. And then we put that clip away. Put that screw back in its bag so it's identified as a BP. They always give you a spare screw in these part works. Oh, come on. Oh dear, it does not want to go back in its bag. Go on, right. It wants to stay out. I want to be built. I don't want to go back in there. Okay, and then we've got the recuperators. And obviously this one is the double length one, so that's going to go in that side. And I believe these are a push fit. Okay, that one's going to need some glue. Although maybe not, it has gone firm, misses. And I'm just going to push that in there, right? And then we've got the single one here. Those two clamps away. Sorry about all the horrible blotchy marks on my arms, guys. I've got psoriasis. The doctor's getting it under control. She's doing a fantastic job. And but it doesn't look very nice. If you're wondering what it is, it's not anything more serious than that. And it's a pain in the ass because it's all about moisturising. So my arms are covered in like a lard type oil, and obviously I rest my arms on the armrests, and then I touch the armrest, and then I've got oil all over my hands, which is exactly what you don't want when you're into scale modelling. So I'm putting some glue on the inside of these just to hold them in place. Okay, and I'm going to go over the cotton bud just to remove the excess. There we are, so there's our recuperators in. Alright, and then finally we have our toilet that has a D-shaped hole. There's a D-shaped pin, so obviously the toilet's going to go so that you can get to the front of the seat. That's going to press down there. It's not that tight, so I am going to put a drop of glue in there. There we go. That's going to go on there, like so. And that's it. Right, so all I've got to do now is wait for all this glue on here to dry, sand all that nice and flush, and then we can get that fitted back on there so it's all in one. And as I say, I won't be fitting it on the nose until we need to. So there we go, pack 18 was just about fitting these two pieces here, if you remember. Now you can see they've been repainted. So there we go, guys. That's it. So that is part 11, and we're up to pack 18. Now part 19, I know, because I've seen other people doing it, is engines. So we'll be putting this to one side now. So we can put this away. Make sure you keep it covered, don't let anything fall into it. Keep a cloth over it so it stays dust free. Don't just stick it on a shelf in your modelling room, because you might not be coming back to it for a year. Who knows? Who knows? So yeah, we shall see. So there we go, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all soon. As I say, don't forget, I keep saying it, but I still keep getting asked. This is the build revisited. This is all about me adding some extras, modifying the build. This is not how it comes from Hachette. I've got another series from Hachette about building this from the pack. And it's not 2 models, it's 1 model. I build it and then I take it apart and do it all again. Okay? Thank you for watching. I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.